So what you take away from that, and something I think we should really internalize and wrestle with in our own hearts is, it doesn't matter what has happened in your own past. It doesn't matter what your current circumstances may look like. If God has given you a burden and put something on your heart to do, God is going to be able to take those past events and these current surroundings and circumstances and weave them together to position you and launch you into the future that He has for you. You say, well, look at my past. I've done so many bad things. It doesn't matter how many bad things you've done. It doesn't matter how many marriages you've been through. It doesn't matter how many of your kids hate your guts. None of those things matter. If God has put a vision in your heart and given you something to do, you say, well, I'm not gifted this or that or the other. I don't have the skill sets that I need. None of your current obstacles matter if God has put something in your heart like He did in Nehemiah's heart. Then He will weave all of those meaningless circumstances and failures from your past together, create meaning out of them, and launch you into the future. He creates meaning out of meaninglessness. How easy would it have been for Nehemiah to say, my past life in Persia, all those days where I was in Persian culture with a little Jewish influence, all of the days that I wasted, if this is what God has called me to do, my life has been wasted. And God took all of those meaningless days and wove meaning into it and said, I've got you positioned in this place for this time, for this reason, and now I'm going to launch you. But Nehemiah didn't have a pity party. Nehemiah trusted the Lord and leveraged that downtime, regardless of all the excuses he could have used. He leveraged it for the sake of the vision through praying and planning. God brings meaning out of meaninglessness. Just look at the death and resurrection of Jesus, the darkest event of human history. God literally raised Jesus from the dead. And so the worst event the world has ever seen became our salvation. And if God can raise Jesus from the dead and resurrect meaning out of that meaninglessness, then He can take your situation and your past and weave meaning into that as well. But you've got to trust Him. You can't let the vision die. You've got to leverage it through prayer and planning.